she come, the reality comes, shades on, the reality comes, shades on, knowledge, wisdom.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. It is me, aka the reality coach. Wow. Does the reality coach have a show lined up for you today? Y'all, let me just tell you, first of all, thank you again for tuning in. And it is so good to be back here once again to share with you some real deal with the reality coach. The real deal with the reality coach. Y'all, you know how we do it. I have the shades on because when the shades are on, it's generally truth that we do not want to see. And when the shades come off, it's truth that we need to see and hear. We live in a world where everyone is doing their own thing, living their own way, and very inconsiderate. And get your shades, get your water, whatever you need, because it's getting ready to be some real deal. And when we tell the real deal here on with the reality coach, ain't no telling how you're gonna be. You're gonna either be glad, mad, sad, whatever emotion you feel, it's okay. Because you're on the real deal with the reality coach. And I just want everyone to know that I've been trying to get a little more structured and get this stuff aligned up properly. So y'all bear with me. There will be some great changes coming because I do have a coach now. Because we don't anticipate this just staying on this level. We want to go higher and higher. But I don't want you all to miss not one step of the struggle because it's real. All right? Okay, so today we have a very special guest. I was researching online different things and looking at different things that people are doing. And when I came across this particular shot, I was like, well, this, I will say not necessarily shot, but this particular logo. And it blew, it was like, what is that about? And it is entitled Original Minds. Original Minds. And I wanted to do something with this person because I was like, original minds. What does original minds mean? So nonetheless, I got on there and I asked her. Y'all, I'm sorry, my phone is ringing and I do apologize. So if I'm seeming all over the place, I am, because it's a lot going on. I will be speaking on a bunch of different things, but nonetheless, let me get back. Let me refocus. This is one thing my coach is telling me: you gotta focus. Get focused. So I'm back. Just one moment. Well, y'all, hold on just a moment. I'll be right back. Let me just take a little break right quick. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. I just had to take a quick break, real quick, so I could get myself together. Now I'm back. Now we're gonna rewind this and start this over. Okay. Now I said that like I was together, right? Nonetheless, we're rewinding and starting this over. Okay. Today's special guest, she's not here, but nonetheless, she's somewhere. I guess she's on mute. Let me see if she's on mute. Sharon, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, she's taking a break right quick. But nonetheless, I saw her logo and it said Original Minds and Original Minds Production. And I started looking on the site and seeing different things that were on the site. And I was like, boy, this is some creative work. Hey, y'all, don't y'all like these blue shades? I might be a little blue today, y'all. But I'm in my war clothes. Y'all know I stay fighting ready. But nonetheless, and I was looking on this site and I started seeing all this beautiful artwork, this beautiful verbiage, and all of these different things. And I'm like, wow, this is neat. So I began to probe a little bit and I realized that this is from men who are incarcerated. Incarcerated. The work is beautiful, y'all. And I suggest that y'all go on there and look at the site. But nonetheless, it's amazing. And so I reached out to Sharon, who is the PR for the men, and these men are incarcerated. So I was wanting to know more because you all know I'm an advocate for incarceration, especially those who are wrongfully incarcerated, considering the fact that I'm dealing with that myself. But nonetheless, I reached out to her and I was asking her more about it. And she was telling me that the men wanted to give something back. Now, these men have not been wrongfully convicted. They haven't. And they wanted to give something back. So I was like, really? And so they became men of purpose behind bars. And sometimes you can't make up for the crimes that you commit because some of them, if you know, like my son's murderer, I don't know what he could do to make me feel like he was justified in taking my son's life. Nothing he could do, but if he can help someone keep from doing what he did, that's enough. That's good because my son's not coming back. Do I wish my son was still here? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we all have to go. Sometimes it may not be the way we want to go, but we have to go. So if he can just stop somebody from doing what he did, that would be wonderful. So that's what these men are doing. And I believe they give portions of their, if they get funds or whatever, they give portion to nonprofit groups, they give portions to organizations that are trying to rehabilitate people. And a lot of these guys have found Christ while they're there. So y'all hold on. I think let me take another quick 30-second break and get my guest on here. Hold on. right. Okay, my guest has been here, you all, and I'm so used to seeing people, but she doesn't have the camera on at this moment. Sharon, can you hear me? I think you may have yourself muted. Can you hear me? I think it's muted.
You hear me?
There you go. There you go. All right.
Okay.
I tell you, this is the real deal with the reality coach. This is how it goes. I do not hide anything. All the bloopers and blunders, I love for people to see them because I want people to know you don't have to be perfect. Just serve a purpose.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I wear sunglasses, Sharon, because sometimes people don't want to see the truth, but you're gonna hear it. People love to hear, even if the truth is mixed in. A lot of times they're mixing gossip in with the truth. So
Right.
people will listen. They may not want to see it, but they will listen. But nonetheless, I was just trying to give them a brief synopsis of what what the the PR programming. Well, you are the PR coordinator of Original Minds, and I was trying to give them a brief synopsis of what it is that they do, and I gave the best that I could, but I'm sure you could explain it a lot better. I told them, informed the viewers that these are inmates who are giving back to society because they've changed and they've been reformed with the help of God. Did that give it a good little snippet?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I do want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak with everybody today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, Original Minds, we started off, it was my husband, Damien Jossol Huckabee. He had written some books. And we were talking about doing a business, trying to get like books out, and it just evolved. And now it's gone more from a company into a movement. What we've started doing is getting involving other inmates to show their talents, to showcase their talents, and also to show the world that they are bigger than the crimes that they committed. And for instance, a book that my husband compiled, it's called Dear Society, and it's by Jossol. And it contains 20 letters from inmates in there that they have written to society. And they tell their stories and what they have endured while they have been in prison. And like I was discussing with you yesterday, one of the central themes that I've noticed in the book is that a lot of these guys, they found God in their life and they've decided that they have to do better to show the world, and they want to come out and be productive members of society. And so what we're trying to do is just showcase these gentlemen, and we've just started building the website and everything, and it's our hopes that people can take notice as to what they're doing and maybe even want to get involved themselves or help or whatever it may be. So on the website right now, we do have the books that my husband made, but we also have artwork from several gentlemen that are incarcerated in the prisons. We will be updating the website soon with some spoken word from a couple inmates, as well as we do have one inmate, Patrick G. Dub Carney. He has some rhymes that he has done. So what we're looking for is, inmates to bring out their creative, whatever it is that they have inside of them, and we can showcase this and we could show something positive. And eventually it is our hopes if we start earning money, because right now we're just kind of putting our money into this. But once we start earning money, yes, we are wanting to donate funds to, different agencies that do help people who are incarcerated.
Well, it's ironic you mentioned Patrick Corney. Pat,
Yes.
Patrick used to. Well, I used to be the Sunday night gospel radio host
Mhm.
that they listen to faithfully every Sunday. And Patrick Corney used to write the reality coach quite a bit. And
Yes.
he he was very intelligent. He wasn't what his crime. I don't know his crime, but if I did not know that it was coming from an inmate, the articulation and the intelligence that these gentlemen have, if
Yes.
you don't know their backstory, you would not know that there is a story. And
Exactly.
what you were telling me yesterday when I was speaking to you is that a lot of this has helped these guys address some childhood issues that may have been part of their problems.
Exactly. And this is the thing is that, we all can admit that in the United States, our system is broken. It is. It is broken, especially if you are poor or, minority, what that society considers minority. I don't like using that word, but it's if you are poor or, considered minority, the system has failed. The government has cut funding for, mental help, mental health assistance, and for these young people when they're in school and everything, and it starts a lot of these children. I mean, a lot of these people, a lot of their issues started as a child. Um, I'm going to speak for the women because I've read up a lot about this when I was working on my degree and everything. A lot of women who are incarcerated, they experienced some type of abuse, domestic violence, or, molestation or whatever. And then they end up in the positions, where they feel they have to, protect themselves or whatever it may be, whatever, way they use it. And then they end up in prison as well. And I think a lot of these young men, we already know that they say men mature slower than women. And we could even go as far as like when you look at, paying for insurance, they charge insurance higher for, males until they're 25 years old. And so it kind of, they're not fully matured, especially if they catch a case when they're young. And instead of the system providing them the help that they need, the system just wants to go lock them up, and they don't do anything, no rehab, nothing. It's just, we're going to lock you up, and hey, let's hope you make it on your own. And we need to start doing better because a lot of these young men, they've had to find their own way through the prison system, no help from the prison. They had to do it on their own. And a lot of times it is first dealing with what they grew up with, getting God in their life, learning about forgiveness, and, wanting to just move on and be better for themselves and for the world.
And it's ironic that you say that the system has failed. I believe the system works so much in favor of the female versus the male. And what I mean by that is females um, sometimes can be the catalyst
Mm,
behind the action that the man takes.
yes. And
And the
you're
man
absolutely correct.
and instead of the system trying to figure out a way to keep women from becoming okay, and I'm speaking as an advocate, as a mother who has one son that was murdered,
Yes.
and then the other son is serving a life sentence wrongfully on
Hmm.
a rape allegation.
Yes.
So I'm speaking from the mental torment that it has on me as well as my child. And y'all, I put these shades back on because this is some dark truth you may not want to see, but you're going to hear it today. My son tells me, Mom, I didn't rape anyone. And guess what, Sharon? It proves he didn't.
Right.
But because the female said it, it's automatic. And
Hmm.
with the paperwork that was returned back on my from the judges, the original indictment doesn't even have a gun in it, but because the female said she was held at gunpoint, That's what makes it matter. So I'm saying all of this, that the system is so broken and so lopsided that it's almost more harmful to have a male child than it is to have a female.
I
And
agree with you.
and you know, Sharon, and then they give all of the that men are told not, they're taught not to cry. They're taught
Yes.
not to show emotions, deal with it. You
Yes.
toughen up, stuff belly up. But women are taught to cry about it,
Hmm.
lie about it, shout about it, preach about it. Whatever
Yes.
whatever the woman wants to do with her story or her pain, there's an outlet
Yes.
or an inlet. Men have nothing hardly. And the
I
only I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
I agree with you, and you know what makes it really hard, like, I remember one time I had a neighbor who her daughter made an accusation against a young man, and at the time when she accused him of doing something to her, she said my son was there when it happened. She used to babysit my son, and my son is deaf. And it was funny because I received a call from a detective wondering, is there some way they could question my son? And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on?
Mhm.
And I went over to my neighbor and I talked with her, and I asked to talk to her daughter. And I let her daughter know, hey, I am so sorry this happened to you. But like her daughter and I, we were kind of, like a kind of on a friendship basis. I'm older, but still. And me and the young lady, we had a conversation, and it turned out was that she was afraid to tell her mother that she was having sex. And so
Mm.
she, made a lie up saying that the young man forced himself upon her when that wasn't the case. And, I let her know, like, you do not want to put that on that young man because he will have to deal with that the rest of his life. Do not do that. Please do not do that. And then her mother turned around and was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and press charges anyway because he had no business being in my house. And I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
no, do not do, because you will ruin that man's life. You will ruin his life. And they did eventually, they decided not to follow through on the charges, which I'm thankful for. But you are absolutely correct. There are women that kind of mess it up for the women that did go through things. There are women that
Mhm.
do that. And then when you have women that did go through things, it makes it look bad. And so, we as women, we've got to do better with that as well.
Yes, and I am so glad that you as a woman stood up for that young man and didn't just automatically take the woman's side because we have a loyalty to women. No,
Right.
we have a loyalty to what's right.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
now in this world we're living in, it seems like our loyalty lies to whatever's going to pay off
Yes.
in the way that we want it to pay off. But saying all that to say, in this case, what you just said, the woman has the power to ruin a life
Yes.
and lie and get away with it. And here's the thing, I truly believe if there was some type of law put in place when a woman lies like that and a man has been convicted and put away, there should be a consequence for her.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Now it's one thing to make a mistake,
Yes.
and mistaken identity does happen because some people can look closely similar.
Mhm.
If they find that to be the case, that's just what that is. But this will force our police departments to do a more thorough investigation when it comes to crime and it comes to people being pointed out, or lack of better terminology, fingered, when it
Mhm.
comes to this. So that way we can ensure that the right person is behind the bars because, like in my son's case, the actual rapist is still free.
Isn't that horrible?
Horrible. And then another thing that I think that needs to be a light needs to be shined on is people who say that they're going to help, like, rehabilitate people who've
Yes.
been to prison.
Yes.
or people who are coming out or help fight injustice or whatever they get this nonprofit for, which
Yes.
becomes profit for their pockets most of the time. This is what I'm
Absolutely.
experiencing. So we've got to stop allowing them to do that too, because if your husband is trying to make a positive change
Hmm.
in life, why wouldn't these organizations that say that they're going to help him start getting on Original Minds website and look and see, read the book, get the book,
Yes.
Dear
Yes.
Society, read it. That way they can see if your husband is sincere about what he's saying. See if he's really being truth forthcoming when it comes to his rehabilitation. Put him in a position to test him before he gets out so he can see. And I'm sure he won't mind.
Absolutely. And I had no clue as to the exploitation that people who are incarcerated experience,
Oh,
from lawyers selling them, false dreams, to people saying, "Hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," and they don't do anything. And I've also heard about people who themselves have been incarcerated, and they get out and they say, "Okay, we're going to do all this to help the guys who are locked up," but in the long run they're getting money up out of it, and they're not using the funds as it should be. They put the front up, it's a good front, but in the background they are not doing right themselves.
now,
And that happens a lot.
well, and it's ironic you bring that up, and y'all, this I got to put these shades on because this is some dark truth you may not want to see, but you can ready to hear it. I am speaking from a perspective of one who can speak and attest to what she's saying. This particular organization, and I'm going to call it out, the Innocence Project.
Mm.
Everybody asks me, "Have you been to the Innocence Project?" Oh, yes, that's the first place I went because my son is innocent and they have the name the Innocent Project.
Yes.
So, nonetheless, I go there and they tell me two things. They tell me he must exhaust all of his legal remedies,
Mm.
and then they only deal with DNA cases. Well,
Wow.
I have a problem with both of those things because, for one, if he's exhausting all of his legal remedies, that means everything that we have to do is a money game. It's
Yep.
exploitation, just like you just said. They're exploiting me as a mother, and it's mentally taxing, but I refuse to give up. And this is why I become an advocate for people who are, whether you're wrongfully convicted or convicted justly. I am a proponent for that because, for one, they are exploited. They are
Yes.
given false dreams and lied to, saying that they're going to help them. Like in my son's case, if it had not been for him having a mother who had the resources at the point in given time to take him from the step of a dream to hope,
Right. Right.
he will
Eh,
be there the rest of his life. I mean, how can the Innocence Project say this to me? You're saying exhaust all his legal remedies. That means exhaust all your money after he sat there for 30 years and then let us come in and save the day when the day could have been saved.
a long time ago.
Exactly. And then you tell me you only deal with DNA. Well, how about DNA clears my son? I tell him that. You know what I've gotten? Nothing. It
Wow.
is sad. It is sad. And I went to every organization within the sound of my voice, within the reach of clicking on this site, that site. These people are exploiting you all. They're
Mm.
exploiting the inmates, they're exploiting the families, they're exploiting the children, they're doing everything, and they do it without a conscience.
And what it is that they're looking for, is a smoking gun. And if you do not have that smoking gun, they don't want to deal with it. It's like they don't want to have to really put in the effort. They want you to provide them the smoking gun. And then once you provide that to them, then they could say, okay, we're going to take this because it's easy for them by that point. It's, they don't really have to put in work because they found a loophole, whatever it may be, something that's easy instead of actually putting in the work and researching. And like you said, when you go through to exhaust all the steps that they need to, and hiring these lawyers and stuff, and these lawyers will tell you, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they end up, all they're doing is steadily charging you and taking your money, and then they do nothing. And then here it is, you've exhausted everything. And then what if something does come up, but you've exhausted everything? So
Well,
it's
go ahead. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, so it is it like you said, it was like we both said, it's exploitation. And like I said, I never realized how bad it was until, going through this with my husband.
And another thing, when your love and I and I'm and we're sharing this because Dear Society, what a great name. Dear
Yes.
Society, we need you all to understand what's going on.
Yes.
Um, Here's what they also do. They like to force men or women, more so men,
Mhm.
to take a plea deal.
Oh yes.
Plea deals allows them to get out of doing work.
Yes.
It allows the system to keep going. Like they told my son, if you do not take the plea deal, we're going to give you life.
Yeah.
My son said, I didn't rape anybody, so you may as well give me life. And how they did it was egregiously harmful. It is unbelievable. And then the thing about it is, this isn't just happening to my son. Like I said, I was a radio personality, and at least 4 to 5, maybe 5 to 7 prisons listen to me, listen
Yes.
to the reality coach every Sunday. And the amount of mail and letters that I got is insurmountable
Yes.
on the wrongful convictions that I can clearly see. And I'm not even an attorney. And what has happened is the prosecutor and the court appointed attorney, they work together.
Yes, ma'am. And this is the thing. I don't know about other states. I'm going to speak on Texas specifically.
Mhm.
I feel like, and this is something I told my husband. I hate that he ever had got himself involved in the situation where he caught his case because he has become a slave to the state of Texas.
Mhm.
And the state of Texas, if depending on your kind of crime, it's like a G3, I think, or something. He cannot get any time reduced for work, no time, nothing. They don't even get any kind of pay or anything. And another thing that I was discussing with you yesterday, a lot of these gentlemen will go up for parole. They have done all these things to make changes in their lives. They have done things to give back to the younger prisoners, and yet they will get denied simply because of the nature of their crime. In the book Dear Society, there's one of the writers, his name is Michael James. He's been locked up for 33 years. They call him Polar
Jesus.
Bear. He has been going up for parole since 1998. I just looked him up. His last parole, he was denied for the nature of his crime. You cannot change the nature of your crime, but you can change yourself. And this is the thing that makes me question Texas Department of Corrections. If you're saying that you're only denying him simply because of the nature of his crime, are you saying that your quote unquote rehabilitation did not work? Because there's nothing else. He didn't catch any other cases, he didn't do anything else. I thought your rehabilitation is supposed to work. It's supposed to be helping these guys, but yet you keep denying them simply because of the nature of their crime. You are not acknowledging that people are able to make changes, that they're able to do better. And this is the thing that, and it feels like The state of Texas wants to keep these guys a slave for them. They have them working in packing houses, and money is getting it's money tied into everything. And the inmates are not seeing the money. They're not even benefiting. They don't get fruits or vegetables. Their food is horrible. They don't, just basic care that every person deserves. They're not getting it. Where is all the money going to? It is going to within the state of Texas, who the politicians and all them. And the fact is this: once you get involved with with Texas Department of Corrections, it's like they want to keep you forever in there, and they want you to be a slave for them. And this is just my feelings about it. And I do understand that there are people who commit crimes and they do deserve, they get their punishment and everything. But I also believe that people can make changes in their lives. And I wish that the Department of Corrections would acknowledge that.
Wow, you just laid some heavy stuff out because people don't understand that some of these people are targeted. I believe my son was a target.
Yes.
Now, here's what I do know. My son that was murdered, his murder only got a 5-year plea deal.
Ooh.
But my son is dead.
Yeah.
And this uh modern day slavery, it's just done in a different way.
Yes.
And then the fact that it's and a white girl. Now, here's what I look at. My son that was murdered by a young black man.
Mm.
My son that was falsely and wrongfully convicted of rape was accused by a white woman.
Yes.
And yet, Black Lives Matter, this organization that's getting, let me put these shades on because this is some truth you may not want to see, but you need to hear it. Black Lives Matter, this organization that has sold tons of t-shirts, gotten plenty of my money as a donor, as a
Yes.
donation. Black Lives Matter. Well, looky here. My son is dead. That's a black life.
Yes.
My other son has been given a life sentence on a lie. That's a black life.
Hmm.
Okay, so now it looks like to me, as a mother out here, when it comes to my black son that was murdered, what's to matter? And then when my black son that was accused by a white woman, what's the matter?
Yeah.
Both lives are gone.
Yes.
And people want to know why I won't shut up and I won't sit down. Because as a mother, how can you shut up and sit down when you see this is going on and you got all of these people exploiting my children, your
Hmm.
husband, your loved one? It may not be your family member today, but
Right.
it can be tomorrow. Because all it takes is being in the wrong place
At the wrong
at their
time.
right time.
Yeah.
And if they want to put something on you, believe you me, they will. And
Yes.
then here's another thing that people need to understand. You can get a 5-year plea deal for a murder. But
Isn't
over
that something
here,
else?
you can get a life sentence on a false act. Now, if a woman is raped, that you deserve to serve some time. But
Yes.
she didn't die. She isn't dead. Yes,
Yes.
she's left with some mental scars, but there's some plenty of rehabilitation for her. I am a victim of sexual abuse
Yes.
and I got help.
Yes.
So I'm finding a way to work my way through the pain. But
Yes.
I'm saying this to say, how do you expect me to be quiet? How?
And this is the thing that, another thing, like I was talking about the book Dear Society. I'm planning on trying to compile a book of letters written from family members and loved ones. Because the thing is this, is that when we choose to be by our loved one's side, whether it's our
Mm.
child, our
Let me
father,
tell you
or
something, 'cause I
whoever,
know you can say
people
something.
want to look down at you, or you're stupid or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is this, I remember one time, there was a woman that she helped she her son was where my husband was, and I'd got lost somewhere, and she drove to me and helped me get out of where I was at, right? But she was talking to me, and she explained to me that she had two sons that were incarcerated, one at one prison one direction and one at a prison another direction. And every other week, like one weekend she'd go see the one son, and then the other weekend she'd go see the other son. And she did this every single weekend. She drove back and forth to provide support for her sons, because she believed that her sons were deserved to be loved, deserved to have support, deserved to have somebody by their side. It is so easy for people to just turn their back and walk away. But for you to stand there and advocate for your son and advocate for all the other people who have been incarcerated, you are a strong woman. And, like I said, people want to exploit that as well, like with these shows, Love After Lockup and everything. All you ever hear is about the bad things. You don't ever hear about the good things. And the one thing, though, that these inmates need is love, and they need it from us, and they need us to be able to be there for them and show them support so they can come out. The main goal that I always say is we need the inmates. We need you guys out here. We need you guys to be productive members of society. We need you to be positive role models for your children, for your brothers, for your sisters, for your nieces and nephews. We need you guys out here, and we need you guys to we need you guys to have support. And because when a lot of these people don't have support, they turn to drugs, and they turn to violence and other things, and they're ruining themselves while they're in that prison, and the prison does not care about them. But I need the people who are incarcerated to know that we need you out here. We need you to be productive and do better. And so I'm making a call to family members. If you have somebody who is incarcerated, don't give up on them. At least write them sometime, provide support, allow them to call you every now and again. True, don't allow them to take advantage of you, because there are some people who do that, but
Mhm.
be able to provide support for them because they need it.
Wow. I mean, you know how many times I've heard you just the old mother that's trying to get your rapist son out,
Isn't that horrible?
or you crazy? Ain't no way. He got life. Let him go over there and just let him do his time. Now this came from family,
Mm,
and then when it comes to my son that was murdered, oh well, he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. How I don't, and the mental torment that I deal with daily.
yes.
My heart hurts not only for my sons, my heart hurts for your husband. My heart hurts for Patrick Corney. My heart, it got so heavy on me working at the station because I was like, okay, God, I feel like I'm in a box. I got to get out and do something. I got to get somewhere where I can do more. I've got
Yes.
to be able to advocate. And people think that this is only about my sons. No, this is about standing up to these people that exploit these inmates,
Hmm.
people that exploit the family members, people that exploit everyone involved. I mean,
Yes.
they don't even care. And you are right. At least one, if you can't do nothing else, at least send a card. If you don't want to write nothing, just write the address on the front of the card
Right.
and send it. That will make an inmate's day.
I'm telling you, because like
Oh,
when I travel places, if I just send some pictures to my husband, oh my gosh, he gets so happy, and just, to be able to see different places and everything, because you got to imagine what they're looking at every day while they're in prison. So if you could bring a little bit of the world to them, oh my gosh, that makes such a big difference for them.
and the thing about it, my my son, who is a mind you, mind you, now the young man that murdered my son, he had a previous record,
Mm.
was on probation, got a 5-year plea deal. My son that got the life sentence graduated Texas A&M Commerce cum laude.
Wow.
Never had any problems with the law, not even a traffic ticket.
Wow.
He gets a life sentence. Now, when I go to tell this to people, they don't seem to see. They see, you know what they say? He shouldn't have been messing with the white girls. What does that have to do with the wrong that has been done to him?
Exactly.
And then they'll turn around and say, well, the other one, he shouldn't have been in the hood, or he shouldn't have been where he was. It's always, when it comes to people's mindset,
Hmm.
dear society, when it comes to y'all and these inmates, quit throwing them away and quit blaming, quit hating, quit, excuse me, quit making us look like the bad person because we love our loved ones.
Yes.
And we're only sharing these things with you all so you can learn from what we've earned.
Yes.
I don't want nobody to go through what I'm going through. You are, and thank you for at least acknowledging the fact that it takes a strong individual to do
Yes.
what is being done through me.
Yes.
And it's being done through me because if it wasn't for the grace of God, there's no way I could be doing it.
Right.
And I, again, state to dear society, get your original minds back, please.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that's funny because my husband wrote something. He said, Original Minds is invested in helping others get back to their original mind because it is then that they will find their higher self and connect back with God's essence. And once this connection is made, that is when we discover the purpose of our God given gifts and talents. And we have to get out of the stinking thinking and we have to get back into being better people, being better, taking care of society, being our brothers and sisters keepers, and trying to right the wrongs. And instead of just throwing people away, and I'm going to just give you something real quick that doesn't really have to do with people being incarcerated, but I will tell you this. Like I said, my son is deaf. And when he was little, it runs through his father's side of the family. And one of the older relatives was like, well, he's deaf. You better get ready to send him off to deaf school. And I was like, huh? And apparently that's what they used to do back in the day. If your child was born deaf or blind, ship them off to school. There it is. They're gone. And I could never imagine shipping my son off away from me not being able to be a mother to him, to hug on him, to love on him, to, tuck him into bed at night and everything. And luckily now we do have programs where they incorporate, deaf education with the mainstream students and everything. But I couldn't imagine just writing my son off and just shipping him away because he's not able to hear. And it's the same with our children or our loved ones is yes, they made a mistake in life, but does that mean that we deserve just to ship them off and forget about them? No. We need to be there so we can love on them.
And guess what? If you had shipped your son off, he would have been exploited.
Yes, absolutely. And that was another thing. I was scared, somebody might touch on him or, whatever it could be. And, it's no, I'm not having that. And being given that my son does not have a voice when he was little, now he does. Boy, he has a voice. But when he was little, he didn't really have that voice, and to speak up or something. No, I'm not going to do that. And it's another situation. I have a nephew who has behavioral problems, and he was going to a school and they were like, well, we need to go inpatient him to some hospital. And I was like, no, we're not going to know because I don't know what will happen with him in there in an inpatient thing. It wasn't like he was going around hurting anybody or anything. He was throwing a fit, rolling around on the floor and stuff, but they were just ready to check him out and just send him to an inpatient thing. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're
Wow.
not doing that.
Hats off to you. I mean, and since it's Women's Month and it's National Women's Month, Hey, women, to all the women standing strong in the gap, hats off to you. You go, girls. You go,
Yes.
sister. You go, homie. You go, whatever you want to put there. You go, you go. And
Yes.
hats off to you, and congratulations for standing in the gap. And and
Thank you.
and and and, and I commend you for being a strong enough mother like myself. I'm not just gonna throw my babies are not no castaways,
Right.
and they not no stowaways,
Right.
and they certainly won't be a hideaway.
Exactly.
And
That
the
part.
men in the prison, they're not, they society gave up on them.
Yes.
Society did some things. Now that it's bad enough, they probably come from dysfunction.
Yes.
Their mother had already gave up on them. The one woman that they knew before they knew anybody
Yep.
gave up on them. So what and we know that society has it where, especially minority men, I know you don't like to use that word, but black, well, let me just say black men, especially, if they make one mistake,
Hmm.
their punishment is not gonna fit the crime.
Absolutely.
It is not. How do you give someone a life sentence
Hmm.
on aggravated sexual assault charge, but someone over here with a death,
Hmm.
a murder, gets a 5-year plea deal? For the life of me, dear society, I cannot understand it, and I want us to get back to our original minds.
And it almost seems like it's punishment for not cooperating with them.
It
Since
was,
you're not going to cooperate with us, we're going to punish you.
and that's
And
exactly what he was told. That's what I was told too. They told me as his mother, Kobe Warren, the court appointed attorney, and Josh Healy, a Warren, Healy and Associates, came and told me that his mother, well, if he don't take the plea deal, they're gonna give him life. How do you know what they're gonna give him? You the defense attorney.
right, right.
And then do you know what happened? You said punishment. Do you know after the trial, my son was given a life sentence. I'm walking to the elevator. The attorney who defended, one of the attorneys defended my son, Josh Healy, he comes to me and he pops his collar
Mm.
and says to me, don't even worry about doing an appeal. Draylen Patterson is in prison for the rest of his life. He ain't never getting out.
Wow.
And wait, and I popped my collar and told him, you don't know my father. And I've told them from day one, y'all got the right, wrong one now. You done mess with
Right,
God.
right,
Because
right.
the prison doors are going to open. And when I say the prison doors are going to open, I told my son, Draylen, this is bigger than you.
Yes,
You're just the one that God had to put me in God had to force me to get into this position, because I wouldn't have never got here if it hadn't been for you. To
right.
help, to be a willing vessel that he can use, to be a slave to make sure that these prison doors open. I said, the prophecy was given to me, the prison doors are going to open. That means
Yes,
more than one door. You only need one door for you, Draylen. It's
right,
bigger than you. And
right.
so, not only that, there's so much that these people in the, I can say Dallas County,
Yes,
so many of them people down there sitting in these seats that we elect to be our judicial judges, to be our district attorneys, to be our court clerks, all of these, they're all
yes,
part of a system,
yes.
and they are a mess.
And this is why it's important. See, we only always think about presidential election. And people don't realize the president has limited powers. And when you don't go to the other elections, guess what? You're letting those people get voted back in, just like Greg Abbott. If you're not going and voting, and I know people believe, oh, my vote doesn't count, but it does. And we've made our vote count. When Obama was voted in, we made our vote count. But when we don't care, and when guess what? Those are the people that we are allowing to go into office. And we have to stress that it is important to get out here, find out about these people that are running. If you have a pension, like if you've gone to college, if you've, know about politics history, get into the politics. We need young voices. We need people with open minds that can make changes, because right now the people that we have making changes, those people are in office. Guess what? Because a lot of us did not go vote, did not take the time to go vote.
Exactly. And let me do tell you, and I want those that are in these seats to know, if you're willing to take some money under the table, they will throw you under the table too.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you can be bought, believe me, you can be sold as well.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you are right. Our local municipalities are what are so vitally important, because guess what? The presidential election, that's for the whole United States. That
Right.
don't have nothing to do with you where you stay.
Exactly.
So you need to
Exactly.
get out and vote. And I want people to know, like now, I'm going to start calling out these people. The person that wrote my son's appeal, she has the audacity to be running for the Supreme Court. No, ma'am. I'm going to
Oh,
do everything
wow.
in my power to make sure it does not happen. And I want people to know, you have my word. I'm not just fighting for my sons. I'm
Yes.
fighting for those who don't have an aunt, a mother, a
Yes.
sister, a cousin, a niece like me.
Right. Right.
But I need help. I need people to go to www.therealrealitycoach.com.
Yes.
Leave your comments there. If you know someone has been wrongfully convicted or their time doesn't fit their punishment, there are
That
things that
part.
can be done.
That part.
But
That
we
is a
gotta work
big
together.
thing. I noticed in Texas, like you said, your son, he's had no priors. He has, earned his degree. He was being a member of society, paying taxes and doing everything else. And yet, and still, they charged him as if he was an offender who just kept reoffending, reoffending, reoffending. And that it's just like I said, the thing is this, is that we can't get away from bias. I think we all experience some type of bias, in our lives. We all go through it, okay? And we know that bias is big. You cannot sit up there and possibly say there is no bias in the justice system, because there is. And the thing is this, is that these people that we're voting in, they are not reflecting their biases are something that is outdated, is wrong, and we need to get those people, those corrupt people, out of office. And the thing is this, is that a lot of these politicians, they say they're Christians, they say, but they know nothing. And I'll tell you a real quick story. My first lesson of forgiveness was a woman that I worked with. Her name was Brenda, and she was always just very nice, very sweet. One day she was sitting down and she was talking to me, and she started talking about how her son got murdered. And she told me that she had gone up to the prison to talk to the man who murdered her son. And she started, talking to him, and found out he was gone on drugs. He was kind of out there, and it was her son could have been anybody. It wasn't anything personal. Her son just happened to be, like you say, in the wrong place at the right time. And
Mhm.
her son got murdered. But she had learned to forgive the man who murdered her son. And I understand that is that's a whole other thing you have to go through. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a while for a lot of people. But she had learned to forgive this man, and she continued to write him and, pull support. And even when he went up for parole, she attended his parole hearing and advocated for him to get out on parole.
Wow. And let me tell you, when I took the stand at my son's murder trial, you know what I said? The young man, he wasn't looking up, he was looking down. I told him, I said, look at me
Mm,
and look at me. And I want you to turn around and look at your mother.
mm,
You got two women in tears behind your actions.
yes.
My son ain't coming back, But you
Right.
know what you can do for me, son? You can go and change and tell someone don't take the road you took.
Yes, ma'am.
You get an opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
Go and make yourself someone.
Yes.
My son was headed, he could have been somewhere. He just chose to go nowhere with no one. You ain't a no one. You're gonna get to be someone. Now go
Right.
make yourself be someone.
Right. Don't make what you've gone through be in vain. You make good use of what of this lesson that you're learning, and that is the thing that original minds, what we're trying to showcase is that these are men, and hopefully we could start involving some women in women who are incarcerated too. But at this point, we're hoping that these men, men are wanting to make differences, and they're wanting to call out to the world and say, hey, you know what, I did this, yes, or this situation, whatever happened. But guess what? I'm trying to become a better person.
And I
And
need
I need
your
you to
help.
see that. Yes. And I
I
need your
need your
help.
help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, it takes a village, being brother and sister's keeper. And we have to take care of everybody. Everybody does matter. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yes, Black
Mhm,
Lives Matter, but
mhm,
we all
mhm,
do,
mhm.
we all do
I
matter.
never liked
Even
that. I
r-
never liked that saying. I never did like that saying. I didn't.
right.
I said all lives matter. I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm a black woman. All lives matter, but I want all lives to matter. But we got to get off of here. So
Yes, ma'am.
tell us real quickly where they can find out more about
Okay. So
Original Minds.
Okay, so the website is Original Minds, ending with the Z. So it's original MINDZ.com. My husband name, he has books there on Amazon. Dear Society, it's on Amazon, but you can also go on the Original Minds website, because there's Amazon links there also. We also have a Facebook page, Original Minds. And so, look at it, check it out. Send us comments, send us feedback if you would be willing to help out, because we're building something here. It was something that started as a little spark, and it's growing. And we're going to be making some updates on the page to put more content on there here pretty soon. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow. And if you want to support these gentlemen, look at the stuff. We're going to be hoping we could try to sell their pictures, their paintings, and their artwork, which is beautiful. We're going to be trying to build all that too. Like I said, it was we never expected it to get to this point, but it is getting bigger and everything. And so that's where we could get support, is by looking, spreading the word, purchasing Dear Society, reading these guys' stories, and just passing it all along.
Boy,
And
God is good. God is so
yes,
good.
ma'am. And is there I just want to go ahead and, like I said, I want to thank you. And I also want to thank Patrick G. Dub Corney, but also Jackie Radway, because she was the one that gave me the information to get in contact with you. And so
Wow.
I want to thank Miss Jackie, because she made this happen.
Well, God bless her. And we're not done. The reality coach is teaming up with Original Minds because I too believe people can change. And if we give it a chance, they can change.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
But
ma'am. I
it's not,
agree.
and just know it is not it is not the Texas Department of Criminal Justice that's changing, that's rehabilitating these men. It's these
No.
men in there helping one another, and people like me and Sharon out here trying to shed light in dark places.
Whoo, you are so on point. Yes, ma'am. I love that. I love what you had just said, because you are so right.
And we're gonna keep liberating minds in order to transform lives.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you again. Okay, y'all, look her up. You can also leave a comment there. If you need anything, you can go to originalminds.com. They will respond back, or you can go to the realrealitycoach.com and leave a comment there. We're here to help you. This is not just about our loved one. This is about your loved one, because we know what you're going through
Yes, ma'am.
and we respect it.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're gonna be in expectation. And Sharon, you got to come back on here, because we gotta keep hyping this up so people can know we are here to help.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll be more than happy to.
And we gotta get Jackie on here too.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We got to get Jackie going, because Yeah, she was instrumental in this, and we really appreciate her.
All right. Well, when you talk to your husband, you make sure you let him know, you let Mr. Corny know that I do remember him, and he can write he can go online. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get on Pando. They all listen to
Okay.
Pando, and I'm trying to get on
Yes.
Pando. So tell them I'm working on it. So they might be able to hear the reality coach on Pando
Yes.
soon.
Oh, I'll be happy. Ooh, I know they will love it.
Yeah, I've gotten feedback from other people yesterday that they really miss the reality coach being
Yeah.
there every Sunday, giving them that, man, and I missed it too, that one ray of light that they needed. But due to the circumstances, I just couldn't keep going because I'd had two major wrecks
Oh
going
no.
around the highway. So nonetheless, I made it for a
Yes.
purpose, just like
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Yes,
Original
ma'am.
minds and the reality coach, y'all hang on, hold tight. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna help do our part. Bye, Miss Sharon. Thank you for being here.
Bye. Bless you. Thank
You too.
you. Bye
My
bye.
pleasure. Bye bye.
There she go, there she go. The reality leaving coach. Truth, knowledge, wisdom, shades on. There she go, there she go. The reality leaving coach.